Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in the
Aniioki A8 Pro Max, and I'm not gonna mess around. We're gonna hit the roads, we're gonna go off-roading, and we're gonna see how far this thing can haul my big old body around. But first, what's this thing all about? Powerful 1200 watt motor, 1600 watt peak, spring shock absorbers, and front hydraulic suspension, hydraulic disc brakes, backlit color display that works great, comfortable banana saddle seat, headlights, brake lights, 20 by 4 inch fat tires, and that huge factor, a humongous 60 amp hour battery that can haul you around for, well, we're gonna test that. So stick around. So I'm about to hit the road on the Aniioki A8 Pro Max 52 volt, but a couple things to point out real quick. First, it comes with this, which I am a huge fan of, because if you've never done e-bikes before, a lot of them, doesn't even matter if you take the keys out, someone wants to come up, hit the power button, turn on, they can ride off with it. And that is spooky as much as these things cost. So to have an actual ability to lock it, and if they try to start rolling this, the alarm goes nuts. It's fantastic. So go ahead and unlock it. And then I'll go ahead and hit the start button. And now I can power it on. It'll go through its cycle here. And the second thing I want to point out is the current mileage, because I'm going to push this thing till the battery is dead. It's supposed to be able to get 100 miles. It is currently at 10.4 miles. It's a brand new bike, fully charged, just unplugged it. So let's hit the road and see what we can do with this. Editor Travis, real quick. They came out with a dual motor version of this bike. Basically, exact same bike with an extra motor, so a lot more power, same experience, so all the same things we're talking about, but with a little more. So if you want that reviewed here, hit that like button and comment down below saying you want to see that version reviewed. And you know, while I'm just being honest, if you could leave a like and a comment, because I want to test it. But I'm only going to get it if people want to see it, so let me know. All right, got her out of the city, ready to show you what she's like on the road and then do some testing. But first, let's just see how this thing accelerates, and then once we get there, we'll slam the brakes so you know the acceleration and the stopping. Here we go. No pedaling, just throttle. I've noticed it will get to 20 miles per hour pretty quick. I have a slight incline here that I'm going up, and we're already at 20. It does slow down at this point, but it will work its way up to 32, 33 miles per hour.
every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is
Got a flat spot, let's hit those brakes.
everyone goes down.
So the brakes on this are really powerful. They will lock up the rear tires, so you gotta be careful about that if you squeeze it too hard. It doesn't ever feel out of control or anything like that. You just let off a little pressure and it starts rolling again. But it can do that, but it will stop you in no time. I love the brakes on this thing, which when you have a bike with a little more power, a little more top end speed, you want that, so that's fantastic. I love doing these reviews, but to be completely honest, I do need a little help. If you decide to buy this bike, if it's for you, there's a link in the description. It helps me out and lets me keep doing this, so I appreciate it. And with that, just like any other YouTuber, please like and subscribe. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I'd love to do that. I definitely appreciate it. And I don't do these reviews for me, I do them for you. So comment down below and let me know what bikes or what topics you want covered, because I want to know, because that's the video I want to create. All right, back to it. But if you're out cruising, how does this thing feel? Well, it does have the fat tires on it, which personally I love. If you're new to these, you might think, oh, big old fat tires, the road experience isn't gonna be that great. But with an e-bike helping you push along, it is fantastic. It feels great on the road. I have no concerns there, but obviously they're gonna help you with the off-road experience as well, which we'll be testing a little bit later on here. But the diameter of these wheels is a little bit smaller than other e-bikes, and with those, not that it's a problem, I don't mind it, but it puts you up in the air a little bit more and it makes you feel a little more top heavy. Also with this, it has a big old battery and it's very heavy, but it's lower. So this has a lower center of gravity and it makes it feel really nimble. I'll put footage on screen of me kind of just swerving around a little bit at higher speeds, but it just feels really good. You feel very in control. And it's just nice to be nimble on a big heavy bike like this and feel like you're very in control. So the overall ride experience is very positive. I feel great on this. I feel like I could ride forever. I actually think the seat is very comfortable. It's wider and kind of ramps up around you a little bit. And it's just very comfortable. If I would give the seat one knock is when I'm pedaling, because the seat is wider, I can feel it kind of rubbing on my thighs a little bit. It's not a huge deal. I think I'd get comfortable with it. I think it'd be fine. It's not a huge deal, but I do notice that, and I wonder if you use it for too long, if that starts to irritate you compared to bicycle seats that are obviously very narrow in the middle. So maybe to consider depending on how you're going to ride this. But the whole claim to fame of this bike. It's something I'm so excited about is, you know, every bike usually has something that's kind of what makes it stand out. And this one is the fact that it has range, supposedly up to 100 miles, just throttle only. I'm gonna fully test it out. Stick around to the end so you know, because I'm a very good test for range, just being that I am a big guy. I am a wind blocking machine at 6'3", and I weigh around 225, 230 pounds, so I'm not the lightest guy either. So as far as a range test, whatever I put up there is probably gonna be just about worst case scenario, and in your case, you're probably gonna get better. So if I can get 100 miles on this, probably gonna be better for you. But if you can do that and you could just ride this, you might not be pedaling a whole bunch. It's kind of not why you buy this, but I will say it still actually is a pretty nice pedaling bike. If I take the PAS down to 0, where the motor is not helping me at all, I actually rode around with my kids a little bit before I did my first test with this, and you can still go. Some e-bikes, there's so much rolling resistance, there's so much weight. When you turn off the assist, you are not going very easily. It is almost a nightmare to get that bike moving. And here I am going up a hill, top gear, and I'm still moving the bike along at 11 miles per hour. Want to shift down, no big deal. Now it's even easier to pedal along at a slower speed. So I actually really like that the pedal side of this is still very functional. You don't feel like it's just there to say it's there. You can use it if you want to get some exercise and pedal, or pedal along with the motor at the different PAS levels. So overall, a good experience. Now, one thing about this bike, I need to look. I don't see turn signals. I don't think it has them. I'll put it on screen if I'm wrong. But with a bike that's meant to be on the road so long, I wish it had turn signals. I wish it had some of those safety features that say, hey, see me, because I'm gonna be on this thing all the time, traveling everywhere. And if I go ahead and stop real quick, it does have these stop pieces here, so it can only turn so far, which I do like. It lets you know kind of what you're gonna be able to do, how far you're gonna be able to turn that wheel, keep it safe. You're not gonna overturn or by mistake just kind of crank it too hard. So it does have those stoppers there, so that's nice. And overall feel as far as like what the suspension does, because it has suspension under here right here. So put that down, see if you guys can see that. But right there, I find this to be very comfortable between the seat that I've already mentioned, the suspension, you know, the ride quality, the fat tires taking probably some of the absorption in the road out. I'm in good old Michigan roads here. They are horrible. Take a look at these bad boys. Yeah, I'm loving this. I will ride this for 100 miles. It is very comfortable. I'm having no problems. Overall feel as far as being on a horrible road is fantastic. Again, it's nimble. I feel very in control. I don't feel too high up in the air. Everything about this, as far as if you're gonna try to take what it can do and ride it really, really far, I think you're gonna get that out of that, so the experience is good. It does have the 5 PAS levels, which is cadence sensor based. Maybe that's another knock depending on how you wanna ride it. If you had a torque sensor, it'd more support you. The motor would work with you based on how hard you're pedaling, where with this, as soon as you pedal, it's gonna take you up to the speed that that PAS level is set for. It's gonna say, oh, I see you're pedaling, you wanna go this mile per hour. So you can see I start pedaling, and it's just gonna take me up to probably about 14 miles per hour on PAS 2. And that's just what it is. There is no, I'm gonna work with you, and how hard you're gonna pedal is where you're gonna go. Personally, I do love torque sensors a lot more, but that also is at a higher price point. Indicated sensors for how you're gonna use it. Also, again, be it a bike, they're probably gonna use the throttle more than anything. It's still fantastic. It's just gotta know what you want and make sure you're picking the right thing for you. It does have a headlight, so I can hit this right here. That'll put the headlight on, so again, I can see what I'm doing as it starts to get darker and also let people see me. Has a tail light, brake lights, so it still does have a lot of safety features. The grips are very comfortable. The half throttle here is very easy to use. It seems to be maybe a little wider than other ones I've seen, where you kind of have to have the kind of ring of your finger right around and hold it there. Feels like get it where you want it. Don't have to worry about where your hand is too much, and then just pin it against the handlebar and just hold that spot, whatever throttle you want, and then you can just tweak it and move it around a little bit to get the exact speed or power you want. So just the features and functionalities, shifting, braking, riding, everything about this is very comfortable, very enjoyable. Build quality, this seems to be built very strong. As I was putting together, just noticing how thick some of the material was, how well it was constructed. This seems like something that will be built to last, be very strong under you, and it feels that way as I'm riding it too. Just a very well built bike. And I don't take this all the way up to top speed, because if I do, you can't hear me with all the wind noise, but about 32, 33 miles per hour with my, again, big wind blocking frame, and it holds it just fine. If you want to take this thing and go at top speed and just ride, it's gonna do it. And it's gonna do it for a long time with the big old battery pack it has. So don't worry about power and maintaining speed or it dying off. And that's just kind of ideal situation. It can do it. So you're gonna be able to cruise around at a good speed if that's what you wanna do with this. I think that's about it for ride comfort, features, quality, what you get out of it. So let's go through a couple tests of this. Let me get to some steep hills, let you kind of see how the power works for this, and then we'll head off-roading. All right, see you in a second. All right, on to a test. We are in the middle of a steep overpass going over the highway here, and I'm gonna jam that throttle and see how well it accelerates up this hill. Already to 10. Climbing. A lot of e-bikes cannot handle this. They crawl or even just not be able to do it. Accelerating right through it, up to 20 miles per hour on a steep incline, not bad at all. All right, we're gonna go over that same overpass, but this time at top speed and see how much of that speed we lose. Let's go. All right, came into the overpass at 31 miles per hour and went down to 27, lost 4 miles per hour. That is more steep than it probably looks like on video, and only losing 4, that's not bad at all. So pretty impressed. This thing definitely has some power to incline through stuff, maintain speed through things, which when you want to cruise for a long time again, is nice. So some final road thoughts before we hit the trails. This thing, after roughly, what, 11 miles, it's a blast. I am comfortable. I've been on it for a little while now. I still feel great. I kind of sit upright with this bike a little bit. I don't mind that at all, but it is very comfortable, very controllable, very nimble. Got enough power to do just about what most people are gonna wanna do unless you're looking for something extreme. Brakes well, which is important when you have a bike with more power, more weight, and just overall features and functionality, build quality. I am super impressed. I could definitely see this being a bike to get and feel like you have the bike that does just about everything you want very well. So let's take it off road, see what it does there, and then we'll wrap it up with a range test and final thoughts. And so we're to the off-road portion of the video. And if I were to label this bike, it's not a bike that you're gonna go looking to ride off-road. It's a bike made for range. You're gonna be doing it on roads and nice trails. But if you ran into a situation where the conditions were not great, can you do it? And that's what we're here to test out. And I can tell you, on my way here, before I got my camera out, I had to ride through some thick stuff. We got a lot of rain yesterday, and there was very thick mud, kind of like, not just mud, but like standing water, like you're going through some nasty stuff. And this rolled right through it. And also because of the time of the year, we're at that point where the first grass is coming up, and there was grass is probably like, I don't know, 12, 14, 16 inches tall at different times. And it was kind of coming up way up the tires and just kind of eating the bike up, and you could tell it was slowing it down. The bike had to really work through it, and it just went right through it. We weren't flying, you know, it wasn't gonna just motor at really high speeds, but I throttled right through it. I made it through that mud. I made it through that extremely tall grass, just dragging this bike down, and it went through it, not a problem at all. So already I can just tell you before I get started here that the off-roading abilities of this bike are there, and it's pretty comfortable. Sometimes you can tell by the shakiness of my voice how well the bike absorbs the bumps. This is just a field. This is not a trail. This is not a road. It is very, very bumpy. And honestly, this bike is absorbing it really well. And again, I don't think you're gonna be looking to go off-roading, but it is very, very capable. So, you know, I'm already gonna tell you right now that if you end up using it for off-roading, or you know that might be part of what you do, I think you're gonna be in great shape. And side note, I don't normally talk about me stuff, but if you ever watched my videos before and you've seen me out here, you might notice the view looks a little different. Well, a tornado rolled through here, a pretty big boy, and up near the house where I haven't shown on camera before, there's a massive barn, and it completely took the barn out, did about $100,000 damage to the house, and this field goes way back. Every tree completely down. The field used to be a beautiful area to walk through. And here's an example of the rain. I mean, I wasn't kidding when I said we got a lot. Conditions out here are muddy. But you can see that field is completely unusable. It's not even something you can like chainsaw your way into. The best we're trying to do right now is just cut the trees up so the land is usable again and they can farm it. But pretty crazy, Mother Nature. But as I'm cruising around, I'm trying to just let you see how I'm riding around on this. You know, the plants are growing up nice and thick. The conditions are very bumpy. And it's just rolling through it. I'm not even full throttle. If I hit throttle, I can get going. You know, it's gonna be able to handle it. It's fun, you know, cruising up 14 miles per hour, 15.
and it will keep going. You know, I mentioned that the other bikes are top heavy. They have much larger diameter wheels, which can be a good thing because it gets you above some of these tall weeds and things like that. But it's not bad. It's very, very controllable. I feel like I'm never in a spot where I might be losing it or I just feel sketchy. Very, very manageable. The power is very easy to control. And yeah, it gets my stamp of approval. If that's how you use it, you're gonna be good to go.
So a few things to point out as we wrap up this video, and let's talk about that range. I started at 10.4 miles on the odometer and I ended at 84.2. So a total of 73.8 miles on this e-bike. And that might be easy to say, that's not impressive. They say 100 miles. Well, a few things here. First, I already mentioned I am a big guy, which does this thing no favors as far as maximizing range, but also I was really pushing it. There was not a lot of coasting. There was a lot of go brakes as I was riding through the city or getting my shots for this video. So that doesn't help at all. And if I was riding more normally, I'm pretty sure that would be different. But also when I went off-roading, the conditions were tough and it was hard for any bike to get through and it tests the battery. It made it through, but I know I was using that battery. And my point here is at 75, just about 75 miles, this thing could go farther. I know it could. If I rode it normal and coast and just went on flat roads and normal riding, this thing has a lot more in it. So I was thoroughly impressed with the range because I tested the max. That has to be worst case scenario. And second, I've ridden a lot of e-bikes, and when they start to get lower on power, even sometimes they still have half a battery left, the power goes down. Your acceleration goes down, your top speed goes down, and that enjoyment factor that you want out of it is only for a portion of the ride, and it's just, you don't want that. You don't want to feel like it's already tailing off when you just got started. And with this, when the battery was flashing at me, I've been telling you for miles, I'm going to die. Pull over. It still had tons of power. It was still accelerating great, still at top end speed, and I love that. For all that range, you get to fully enjoy it. And final thoughts, and really, should you get this bike? If this is something you're looking at going, I think that might be for me, it's talking to me. Should I get it? Honestly, yes. The reason I say that, all the things I've been talking about, the suspension in the front, suspension in the rear, the low center of gravity, how comfortable it is, how nimble it is, how controllable it is, the features that it does have, all these things make for a very enjoyable ride. And with a lot of e-bikes, you might get that for 10, 15, 20, 30 miles, but then you're done, you have to go back, you have to charge it, and you always have range anxiety. You feel like, oh, how much farther can I go? And you're worrying about that, and you love the experience. You don't want it to end. And with this, there's no compromise. I loved everything about it, but you can just keep going and going, which I just thought was amazing. An e-bike that does everything, checks off all those things off those feature lists that you want, all those things you say, please give me these things, with no compromise, but just goes and goes. I love it. So if you're on the fence, personally, I would recommend it. I think this is a fantastic e-bike. It's right at the top of my list. So hopefully that helps you out. Again, if you are thinking about buying it, please use my link. It helps a ton, keeps these videos coming. Like, subscribe, help me get to 1,000. But until next time, have a great one.